Hare Krishna, welcome everyone to our Srimad Bhagavatam review class. We'll begin with our prayers. Om Ajnanatimrandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajata Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadhvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी नितिनामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna. We are discussing from the 11th Canto Srimad Bhagavatam, and so far we have discussed uh, various things from Uddhava Gita, and last thing which we discussed was the description of Grihastha ashram and Brahmachari ashram. What are the duties of a person in the Brahmachari ashram, a renounced order of life, and the Grihastha ashram. So now we'll be starting with the 18th chapter, that is the description of Varnashram Dharma, in which Krishna, he continues the description of Vanprastha and Sannyas. So Supreme Lord says that a Vanprastha, a candidate who is about to take Vanprastha life, leaving his home, leaving Grihastha life, if he wants to take a Vanprastha, then what he has to do? First of all, he has to leave his home where he is staying, and either he can go along with his wife or he can leave his wife and go to the forest in a very, very peaceful mood. Vanam vivikshu putreshu bharyam nyasya sahaiva va van eva vase shanta tritiyam bhagam ayushah. Tritiya bhagam, that means in the third part of life. So also it is said panchashvordham vanam brajet. Panchashvordham means okay. So panchashvordham means after 50 years are over, then a householder should not continue to remain in the household life, but he should renounce and go to the forest along with the wife, or leave the wife with the family members. And then what he should eat uncontaminated bulbs, roots and fruits. He should wear tree bark and some animal or animal skin which is available, or he should dress with the leaves. Very, very austere life he has to follow. And then what he should what other austerities he does? So first of all, he does not so much care about the cleanliness, grooming hair and cutting nails. He is focused on remembering the Supreme Lord. He does various types of austerities. What are the austerities he does? In summer season, he surrounds himself on the four sides with the fire and sits in the middle and does the meditation on the Supreme Lord. In the winter season, he stands till neck in the water, in the river, and meditates on the Lord. And in the rainy season also, he suffers all the torments of the rains. So therefore, it is mentioned in the purport that a person who has lived a life of sense gratification, whole life he has engaged in sense gratification, he has to purify himself of this mentality of enjoyment in this world. And therefore he has to undergo all these severe austerities if he wants to attain perfection in the life. But a devotee of the Lord, he does not have to go through all these severe austerities. As you know, some of you may be thinking, what about us living in the family, living in the city life? What should we do? You know, so it is very clearly described there that a devotee, he does not have to practice all these severe austerities because he naturally develops Krishna consciousness. The purpose should be very clear. Why this Vanprastha does all these austerities? So that he can develop attachment to the Supreme Lord. A devotee practicing Krishna consciousness naturally develops attachment to the Supreme Lord. Therefore, he does not have to do all these severe austerities. As it is said, Aradhito yadi hari tapasa tatah kim, Naradhito yadi hari tapasa tatah kim, Antar bahir yadi hari tapasa tatah kim, Na antar bahir yadi hari tapasa tatah kim. If you are doing tapasya and then, sorry, if you are worshipping Hari, then what is the use of tapasya? And if you are not worshipping Hari, then what is the use of tapasya? That means if you are doing tapasya and your goal is not Supreme Lord Krishna, then the tapasya is useless. So for a devotee, he naturally develops his Krishna consciousness throughout his life. Staying in the family also, staying with the wife, children, family members, relatives, so many things he does. But a Krishna conscious devotee, he is always careful that the purpose of my life is smartavya satatam Vishnu vismartavyo na jatuchit. The purpose is to remember Krishna always and not forget him. And whatever he does, this is the goal. This is the motive. So this this Vanprastha, what does he eat? He may eat foodstuffs which are prepared with the fire, such as grains, or he can pluck fruits from the tree which are already ripened. Then one may grind one's own grains, or uh, he can just chew them. He can just eat the grains as it is. Very severe tapasya. How does he procure his food? He should collect whatever is required personally. He should not depend on somebody else. Depend on himself. Personally, he should accumulate whatever is required and consume it on that day also only. Don't keep anything for the future. What if somebody gets more than required? Then what he should do? Give charity to others. Why such severe type of tapasya? Why a vanprastha? Why a renunciant cannot keep anything with himself for the future? And for that matter, any Brahmana. Why Brahmanas? They were always poor. We hear in the scriptures that the kings, they would give lots of charity, gold. We hear that when Yudhishthir Maharaj, he had to do this Rajasuya Yagya, so he sent Arjun to collect wealth. Arjuna, he went to the north and he uh, collected all the golden utensils which were lying there below the mountain. From where they came? The many sages, they would get so much of the wealth in donation, gold, ornaments, and silk and cloth, and so many things. They don't need all that. So as they are going to the north, Himalayas, they would throw that on the way. What is the purpose? The purpose is they should keep the mood of dependence on the Lord. That is the prime focus, depending on Krishna in all circumstances. So that's why even if a Vanprastha gets something more, he gives in charity. Never stock food. And Chakravarti Thakur writes a very interesting word there. He says, Desh Kal Bala Abhigya. So it is not that, if a renunciant, a Vanprastha, he knows, oh my God, there is starvation going on, famine situation is there, still I should not collect. No, that is not the case. If there is famine, dangerous situation, place is not good, then he can accumulate, then he can save food for the future. So then this Vanprastha, when he staying in the forest, he should use, he should sometimes, he can sometimes make the, normal wheat cakes and then eat it. But he should never sacrifice animals. Animal sacrifice is forbidden for a vanprastha. He can do other sacrifices like Agnihotra, then Paurnamas, and Darsha. He can follow Chaturmasya vow. Chaturmas he should follow. But he should never sacrifice animals. Doing all this tapasya, what will be the result? This vanprastha becomes very, very emaciated, very weak, only very thin with skin and bones, that's all. And but the result is he always meditates on me, Krishna says. He always meditates on me. So therefore, the vanprastha, his prime motive is devotional service. That's why he is doing so much of the tapasya. Otherwise, what is the use? So so the purport, it is described there that a vanprastha who does not become completely Krishna conscious, he goes to Maharloka. The vanprastha who becomes completely Krishna conscious, pure devotee, he goes back to the spiritual world. But if he still has some desires left, by the power of vanprastha life, by the power of renunciation, he goes even to Brahmalok. And there he gets purified further, and then he can go back to the spiritual world from there. And then Krishna says, but if some vanprastha, he engages in such severe penance for sense gratification, then he is the greatest fool. Because the consolation prize for doing this austerity in vanprastha life is Maharloka. That is a consolation prize. Even if you cannot go to the spiritual world, you will go to the Maharloka or Brahmaloka. But if somebody is so very foolish, instead of getting promoted to the spiritual world, he aspires for heavenly pleasures by doing this austerity, he is the greatest fool. What if somebody is so very old, invalid, he cannot do tapasya? What he should do? Then he should create fire in the heart, meditating on the Lord. He should give up his body, staying in the forest. That is a very strict life of a vanprastha. Then what about sannyasi? So Krishna says, when to take sannyas? Yada karma vipakeshu lekeshu nirayatmasu virago jayate samyan nyasta agni pravrajet tatah. If this vanprastha, this personality, he does not even want Brahmaloka, he wants to attain Krishna only, then he should take sannyas. That is the purpose of renunciation, complete renunciation, as Kaviraj Goswami describes in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Sarup Damodar Goswami, why he took sannyas? Nischanta Krishna bhajibo eito karane unmad korilat eho sannyas grahane. Why he took sannyas? Nischanta Krishna bhajibo. I do not want any other anxieties of Jaya, Suta, Agar, Pashu, Dramid, Bandhu and Rajya. I just want to meditate on Krishna. I do not want any other distractions. If that is the motive, then he can take sannyas. He can take to the complete renounced order of life. Before sannyas, what he should do? Give up whatever property he has. He should perform sacrifices, give up all the property, completely detached in the mind, and then he should enter the sannyas order of life. So therefore, if somebody has materialistic attachments, it is so very difficult to continue in the renounced order of life. Therefore, it is recommended that unless the material desires are completely vanquished, he should not take sannyas. If he still has material desires, try to purify those desires, and then he can enter the sannyas life. And then Krishna tells something interesting. He says, when a person enters sannyas, demigods, the devatas, they test this personality. They test by, sending some women in the form of his previous wife, or they will send some other followers. They will send other women to attract that person, this sannyasi, or they will give lots of opulent objects. That's how a sannyasi is tested even by the devatas. This sannyasi, what he should do? He should completely neglect them. You should not even think about all these things. Just neglect them and go ahead. And then the sannyasi, he just wears a loincloth, and if needed, he can cover the hips and the waist with a small piece of cloth. He should not have any other possessions apart from this his sannyas danda and his water pot. That should be the only possessions of a sannyasi. He should follow complete ahimsa. While walking, he should be very, very careful not to step on any creature. Even while drinking water, he should be very careful to drink the water only after filtering, so that no living entities may be killed by the drinking process. And then very importantly, the sannyasi, he should speak and act in such a way that he remains pure. He should never speak a lie, because speaking untruth, if somebody speaks a lie, then he becomes caught up in the materialistic life. It is a very, very detrimental thing to devotional service. If somebody has a habit of speaking lies, it is so very detrimental, because slowly one will lose the trust of others. One will start criticizing or putting blame on the others. Very, very difficult to practice bhakti if somebody is used to speaking lies. Therefore, satya is a very, very important limb. Then Krishna says this sannyasi, he should avoid useless talk. He should not do any prajalpa. He should control all his senses. His mind, his body, his senses, his words, everything should be under perfect control. How he should live? He should live by begging. He should go only to 7 houses for begging. That too, they should be uncontaminated. You should not go to sinful people for begging. Only 7 houses, whatever they give. He can go to any of the 4 ashramas. Best is if he goes to a brahmana. If brahmanas are not there, they cannot give, then he can go to kshatriya or vaishya or shudra also. If the shudras are not breaking the rules and regulations. There are 3 types of begging. One is madhukari. Madhukari means you go to every house and collect small, small alms, beg from all of them. Second type is asanklipta. Asanklipta means you indiscriminately approach 7 houses, and whatever is obtained, you can keep it. Third is prak pranita. Prak pranita means this sannyasi, he establishes regular donors. Every day he goes to them and gets his requirements. Out of these 3, best is madhukari. So in sannyas also there are 4 stages: kutichak, bahudak, parivrajagacharya, and paramhamsa. The initial stage is kutichak. Kutichak means the sannyasi is still having a hut near the house. Kutiya, kutichak comes from the word kuti. He still has a hut near his house, because he has still not developed the confidence that if I'll enter the forest, my needs will be taken care of. So he has a very small hut near his previous house, and he gets all the requirements from nearby places. As he becomes more and more advanced, he rises from kutichak to bahudak to parivrajagacharya. Parivrajagacharya means he starts traveling all over, preaching this message of Krishna consciousness. And Paramhamsa means he is beyond all the rules and regulations. Krishna will describe about Paramhamsa. We'll discuss in some time. So this sannyasi, who is a kutichak, he avoids the sannyasi He avoids any polluted areas. He goes to a water body, takes bath there, and then whatever food he got from begging, if somebody asks, he should give it. He should not argue with them, he should not condemn them, he should not speak harsh words. He should just give them. If somebody comes to beg from a Brahmana, from a sannyasi who has got whatever little alms, and whatever he gets, he should eat everything, not keeping anything for the future, nothing for the future, you know. And then this sannyasi should keep traveling, travel all over the place with complete sense control, not looking around things, exploring the things, cities, malls. No, no. Just like it is described about the small Narada boy when he was in the his past life. He was a small boy. He also left home and he was traveling through all the places. Spitan Janpadams Tatra, all the cities, metropolitan cities, towns, villages, not to explore, but completely detached, enthusiastic, alone. And in this way, he should see everybody with equal vision, you know, not engage in sense gratification, because sense gratification and Krishna consciousness, they go ill together. If somebody still has material attachments, he cannot develop the desire to love Krishna. So this is the whole process of Krishna consciousness. Somehow or other, yena kena prakarena manah Krishne niveshayet. Somehow or other, we have to engage our mind in Krishna. We have to find ourselves how we can become Krishna conscious. Everybody has a different way of connecting to Krishna. Some people, they like to hear some lectures, some people like to read, some people like to worship deities, some people like to go to the holy places, some people like to pray in front of the deities. We have to find ourselves how we can remain Krishna conscious always. That is a mood of a sannyasi. Even if he is alone, he is completely focused in Krishna, focused on Krishna. Purified mind, in solitude with his purified mind, he completely depends on the Lord. He sees everybody with an equal vision, steady vision. He does not discriminate. So in the 22nd verse, it is described, he should be steady in understanding of bondage and liberation. What will bind me? What will liberate me? This should be the constant thought process of a devotee. As we are, discussing all these things, we're thinking, oh, these things are not relevant to us. We are not sannyasi, we are not vanprastha. No, the principles are applicable to everyone. As a devotee, we can take the principles. The principle remains the same. We have to, adapt, accept those principles according to our situation. So this sannyasi, he knows that the bondage occurs when the senses, they come in the contact with sense objects. And liberation occurs when the senses, they are completely detached. That is the same for a devotee also. We have to develop vairagya. We have to develop detachment. Therefore, the principle remains the same. We have to find out how we decrease our attachment. So this sannyasi, completely controlling his mind and the senses, he experiences supreme bliss of devotional service, because he is completely detached from sense gratification, and he is slowly getting attached to Krishna. So therefore he keeps traveling to holy places, to various holy rivers, mountains, and he just goes to city only for bare maintenance. Otherwise he has nothing to do with the city. He is not at all interested in going in the midst of all the materialistic people. And devotees, they go one step ahead. They go to all the materialistic people just to make them Krishna conscious. That's why it is described that the If a person is even a sannyasi, he is not a devotee, then that is of no use. Then this sannyasi, he begs in charity, and by this process of begging and collecting few grains from the fields, he becomes completely purified in his antahkarana. Antahkarana means his mind, his false ego, his intelligence, his consciousness gets purified. Unless one begs in the mood of humility, he will not be purified. If he thinks, oh, I deserve this, we have also to beg to Krishna. Oh, Krishna, please give me mercy. We have to beg for mercy. If a devotee thinks, I deserve this mercy, then he is gone. He cannot get love of God. We can only beg, we cannot demand. So, this sannyasi, with his consciousness completely detached from material attachments, retires from all the activities and slowly progresses in the spiritual life. So, in the purport, it is described that uh, one may doubt that how can a gentleman who is living in a family life give up everything and live with a meager, foodstuffs, eating meager foodstuffs and living with just water pot and sannyas danda, having nothing to wear, because this type of living makes one completely dependent on Krishna. That is the underlying principle of renunciation. That's why the renounced order of life takes so much of tapasya. So therefore, this person, this sannyasi, he does everything needed to maintain the body and the soul together, and nothing more than that. Whatever is required to keep the body and the soul together, he does that. If he feels hungry, he begs. So whatever is required. And then Krishna says that one should understand that this universe is and the body is a product of illusory energy. And then after this, he starts the description of a Paramahamsa from 28 verse onwards. He says, a Paramahamsa is beyond the rules and regulations. Now, this is a very, very important verse, the 28th verse. Jnananishto virakto va madbhakto va anapekshakah salinganashramam styaktva chared avidhigocharaha. So, Jnana and Virakta. Jnana means a person who is engaged in cultivation of the knowledge of soul, the Atma Gyan. And Virakta, he is completely detached from all the sense gratification. Madbhakta, he is my devotee. Madbhakta va anapekshakaha, he is not even desirous of liberation. Salingan ashramam tyaktva chared avidhigochara. What he does, he gives up all the external rules and regulations. So this may be a little confusing. How can somebody give up all the rules and regulations? So it is very, very important to understand. It is just like, this is a Paramhamsa stage of life. That's why, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he did not give this Babaji sannyas to his disciples. He gave Parivrajagacharya sannyas to his disciples. You know why? Because that time many of the people, they were taking Babaji sannyas and they were behaving in very, very uh, you know not so they were not following the rules and regulations, and therefore they were putting bad name to the sannyas order of life, because they were thinking, now we are Babaji, we are beyond rules and regulations. They were even engaging in smoking, drinking and having illicit affairs. That is not the meaning of beyond rules and regulations. The example is given. If a driver is immature, if there is a driver, a very immature and reckless driver, he needs all the rules and regulations. He has to be told, you have to follow. But a person who is a mature driver, who is a very, very efficient driver, he naturally follows the rules and regulations. He does not have to even be even told that you have to follow. No force is needed. So therefore, when one becomes completely purified in his mind, purified of any desire of sense gratification, then he does not like to engage in sense gratification. The thought of sinful life does not enter the mind only. Just like Yamunacharya, he says that when I think of the association with women, my lips curl in distaste and I spit at that thought. Yadavadimam cheta Krishna padara vinde navanava rasadham nyudditam rantumasit aho batanari sangame smaryamane bhavati mukhavikara shushto nishtivanam cha. So this sannyasi, because he's this paramhamsa, because he's completely detached from any type of sense gratification, even the thought of any sinful activity does not enter the mind. So naturally he lives by the principles of God, principles of nature, principles which are given in the scriptures. So therefore he does not have to be told about the rules and regulations. That is the meaning of he's beyond the rules. Jnananishta virakto va madbhakta vanapekshakah salingan ashramam styaktva chared avidhi gocharaha. Avidhi gochara means he's beyond rules and regulations. That does not mean he does not follow. He follows the rules and regulations because that is very natural for him. He is completely oblivious to any thought of sinful reaction. That is a consciousness of a paramhamsa. So therefore one should not artificially imitate a paramhamsa. One should act at our level. One should not feel, oh, I don't have to follow all these rules and regulations. No, we have to follow, because Krishna will describe in one of the further verses, तावत् कर्माणि कुर्वीत न निर्विद्येत यावता मत कथा श्रवणादो वा श्रद्धा यावन्न जायते. Till the time we have not developed unflinching faith in Krishna, we should continue to follow the rules and regulations of the scriptures. This sannyasi, this paramhamsa, he has very contradictory behavior. Although he is a very intelligent, expert, wise, but he behaves like a child. Although he is very expert, he behaves like a stunted or foolish man. Although he is very, very learned, he sometimes behaves like a madman. But one should be very, very clear that although he is acting in a contradictory way, he never acts in a sinful way. He just transgresses the general codes of conduct. Just like, he will not wear clothes. And others may feel, oh, he's an insane person. That was the case with Rishabdev, right? We discussed about Rishabdev in the 5th canto. That's how Shukdev Goswami was, seen always naked. So they never break the rules and regulations, but they behave in certain way which is not according to the religious customs. They are never sinful. So these people, they do not try to please the masses. Oh, how people will glorify me, people will, give me so many things. They are not desirous of any social prestige. They are not desirous of any name and fame. They are completely oblivious to any religion, any social customs, but they are never sinful. These people, they don't take any sides. They are never frightened and they never frighten others. This Bhagavad Gita also Krishna says, the quality of a devotee is yasman no dvijate loko loka no dvijate chayah harsha marsha bhayodve gair mukto yah sachame priyah. So in the 12th chapter, Krishna is describing the qualities of devotees. So these devotees, they are no dvijate loko, they don't agitate others and they don't get agitated by others. Harsha, amarsha, bhaya, In happiness, distress, they are equipoised. They are never violent for the sake of material body. So therefore, just like a moon is reflected in various bodies, the super soul is present in all the species of life. Considering this, a Paramhamsa is always equipoised. He is never elated when he gets some opulent food. Oh wow, today I got a chappan bhog to eat. And someday he does not get anything to eat, some dry chapati. Oh, I have not got anything. No, he is completely equipoised. Anapeksha shushir daksha udasino gatavyatah sarvaramba parityagi yomad bhakta same priyaha. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. Anapeksha, he has no desires, no expectations. Why should get only a very good feast? No, whatever he gets, he is satisfied because he understands that every situation is under the control of Krishna. This Paramhamsa, he should endeavor to maintain one's his health. He should not be oblivious to his health. Many times devotees think, oh, anyways, we are doing practicing devotional service. What is the use of taking care of all these bodily requirements? No. If we don't have this body fit, then we cannot serve properly. So therefore, the sannyasi takes care of this Paramahamsa, takes care of this body very nicely. Whatever is required to keep the body in a fit situation, he does that. Because with this body, one can contemplate on the truth. All of us, we have the experience. If we are not well, how much we suffer. Our chanting is really pathetic. We cannot hear any classes properly. We cannot do any seva. So this body is the asset which is given to us to transcend this material world. We have to take care of this body properly, And therefore, the word uses aharartham. Aharartham means he eats just to keep oneself fit for spiritual work, spiritual duty. He does not eat for sense gratification. That is called yukta ahar and yukta vihar. That is called controlling the tongue. Vacho vegam, manasa krodha vegam, jihva vegam, udara upastha vegam. Just do the needful. Don't do atyahar and don't do prayas. So a sage, this Paramhamsa, he should accept the food, clothing and bedding. Whatever it may be. If it is excellent or inferior, you should not worry. Oh, today I am getting such nice thing to eat, nice place to stay, and another time he does not get so good thing. He is lamenting. No, that is not the condition of a Vanapras or this Paramhamsa. Then Krishna says, just like I do my duties, although I don't have any responsibility. I am doing it out of my own free will. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Name parthasti kartavyam trishu lokeshu kinchana nanavaptam avaptavyam varta eva cha karmani. Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that, O Partha, there is no work assigned for me in this material world. But still I am doing it. Why? Because if I will not do, whole people will follow me and the world will be put to ruin. So Krishna is saying to Uddhava that, O Uddhava, I am doing my duty out of my own free will. There is no compulsion. Similarly, this sannyasi, this Paramhamsa, who has realized me, he does not have any duty. Nobody can force him, but still he does his duties out of his own free will. And therefore, this realized soul, he has destroyed all his illusory conceptions about life. And he does not make any distinction. He is, completely equipoised. He just makes sure that his body is fit so that he can serve properly. That is a condition of a devotee. This Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, the pure devotional service. The definition of Uttama Bhakti is Anya Abhilashita Shunyam. Rupa Goswami has used this word Anya Abhilashita and not Anya Abhilasha. There is a reason for that. Anya abhilasha means there is no abhilasha even for taking care of the body. I will not even care for protecting my body. But a devotee, he is not anya abhilasha shunya, anya abhilashita shunya. What is the difference? A devotee may endeavor for self-preservation or preservation of some near and dear ones. That does not make him a lesser devotee. Just like we know the story of uh, Parikshit Maharaj when he was about to be killed in the womb of Mother Uttara. Uttara, she goes running to Krishna. Pahi pahi mahayogin deva deva jagatpate nanyatvad abhayam pashye yatra mrityu parasparam. O Krishna, O Mahayogi, please save me. Please save my child. Even if I die, that is no problem. My child should not die. That does not make Uttara a lesser devotee, a mixed devotee. So therefore, a devotee should take care of the body, pray for the relatives' welfare. That does not make a devotee a lesser devotee. And then Krishna, he summarizes the duties of varnashrams. He says, one who knows the knowledge of misery of sense gratification. He knows sense gratification will lead to misery. The same thing which Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. Yehi samsparshaja bhoga dukkhayo naya evate adyantavanta kaunteya nateshu ramate buddha. A intelligent person, he should understand that every happiness in this world has an end. And every happiness is pregnant with misery. Misery will come. So Krishna is saying, one who knows the knowledge that sense gratification leads to misery, what he should do? If he has not seriously analyzed this situation, he should approach a spiritual master. Tasmad Gurum Prapadyeta. Go and surrender to a spiritual master. Learn from him this art of spiritual knowledge. Because until one has realized this spiritual knowledge, one should not leave service of Guru, otherwise he will not be purified. And therefore, this person, this sannyasi, or this aspiring sadhaka, he should try to control his senses. Because the senses, they are attached to sense objects. Intelligence is attached to material things. So a sannyasi, if he makes a show of sannyas for making a living, just to get some donations from others so that he can live properly, then he has lost the purpose. He will get destroyed in this life and in the next life also. Then Krishna describes the main duties of the four ashramas. A sannyasi, the main duty is equanimity and non-violence. A vanaprastha, his main duty is austerity and philosophical understanding of the body and the soul. That is a purpose. A vanaprastha, he develops knowledge. Knowledge that I am not this body, I am soul. That is not just the theoretical knowledge. That is the realized knowledge. That is called Atma Sakshatkar. That is the duty of a vanaprastha. A householder, what is his duty? His duty is to give shelter to all the living beings, perform sacrifices. And the duty of a brahmachari is to humbly serve the spiritual master. And then Krishna describes some more duties of a householder. He says, a householder should have sex life only for children, not for sense gratification. And he should practice complete celibacy, austerity, satisfaction. Satisfaction is a choice we have to make. It will not come automatically. A householder has to make a decision. I will be satisfied with this. This is a choice we have to make. This is a decision. This is not an emotion which comes automatically. We have to choose to be satisfied. And then Krishna says, all divisions of people, all varnas and all the ashramas, the main purpose is worshipping me. If somebody is not worshipping me, then all the varnashram is of no use. And then Krishna concludes this discussion of varnashram by telling that one who practices this varnashram and worships me by the prescribed duty, then he will achieve unflinching bhakti. That is the purpose of varnashram. Varnashram acharvata purushena parapuman vishnur aradhyate pantha na anyat tattosha karanam. The purpose of all the varnas and ashramas is to serve Krishna, to develop loving devotional service. Then Krishna describes his own position. He says, O Uddhava, I create and destroy this entire material universe. One who serves me with faith, he attains unflinching devotional service unto me. And in this way, one who becomes purified by the execution of his prescribed duties, he attains my supreme position, my supreme abode. That is the wonderful result of following of this varnashram system. And then after this, Krishna says, O Uddhava, I have described the means by which a devotee can come home back to me. Now, this 19th chapter, Krishna continues the discussion, which this 19th chapter is entitled as the perfection of the spiritual knowledge. So now in this chapter, in this first section from 1 to 7 verses, Krishna describes that, this vanprastha and a sannyasi, his main goal is to develop knowledge. Now it is very, very important to understand a concept here. There are 3 types of Gyan: Atma Gyan, Ishwar Gyan and Keval Gyan. Atma Gyan means knowledge of the soul. I am not this body, I am soul. Ishwar Gyan means knowledge about Krishna, knowledge about the glories, knowledge about the qualities, knowledge about the opulences of Krishna. And Keval Gyan means knowledge of impersonal Brahman. Devotees, they are not interested in knowledge of impersonal Brahman. So a sannyasi and a vanprastha, what he is doing, what they are doing, they are engaged in the practice of cultivating this Atma Gyan, the knowledge by which one realizes that I am not this body, I am soul. So therefore, in the first verse of this 19th chapter, Krishna says, this sadhaka, after realizing the self, I am not this body, I am soul. What is the process? Process is Gyan. After realizing that I am not this body, I am soul, and this world is completely illusory, what he does, he should give up that Gyan, and he should give up the process of Jnana Yoga also. What does that mean? That means, Chakravarti Thakur gives an example. When a person when the city is in danger, sometimes the kings, they give weapons, private weapons to the citizens also to protect them. But after the emergency is over, the citizens have to surrender those weapons again to the king. The process of Jnana helps a conditioned soul to come out of this understanding that I am this body. A person realizes that I am not this body and I am soul. That is the purpose of this Atma Gyan. So this Gyan helps one to understand the illusion. Okay, this world is illusory. Our connection with this world is illusory. This is described many times in the Bhagavatam, that the soul is not connected to the body, but because of the illusory conception, the soul starts identifying with the body. Just like a man, Another example Chakravarti Thakur gives. He says, just like a man which is haunted by a ghost, he thinks himself to be a snake or a tiger. He thinks, oh, I have become a snake. He'll behave like a snake, or I have become a tiger, because he's haunted by a ghost. So now, if a person is haunted by a ghost, then to remove the ghostly influence, one may apply jewels or some herbs or some mantras. But once this person becomes free of this ghostly influence, then the jewels, then the mantras, then the herbs which helped him to drive away the ghost, they are of no use. One should not continue to apply those mantras, those herbs, because the purpose is over. Similarly, the purpose of Gyan is to understand that I am not this body, I am soul. After one realizes this, then there is no use of this Atma Gyan. The purpose is over. Then what he should do? He should start Ishwar Gyan, start the knowledge of devotional service. So that is the understanding of this thing. One should give up Gyan means one should give up the Atma Gyan, because the purpose is over. The person has realized I am not this body, I am soul. Then what next? This is not the end. This is just the beginning of spiritual life. Spiritual life means to love Krishna. So this Gyan, Atma Gyan, the purpose is over. So the devotee, this sadhaka has to give up, surrender the Gyan and surrender the process also. No need to practice this Jnana Yoga. Then what he should do? Practice Bhakti Yoga. That will be described. So now Uddhava, when he hears this, he may think, okay, you are saying a Jnani should give up the Jnana, right? And take to Bhakti. Should the Jnani give up Bhakti also? After achieving something, you are telling, because the purpose of Jnana is over, so give up. So is it that purpose of bhakti will be over sometime and then bhakti has to be given up just like the Gyan? Krishna says no. Because a person who is a self-realized soul, he realizes that I am the object, I am the goal, and I am the means also. I am the cause of the happiness of a devotee. How can you give me up? How can you give up bhakti? So that is a wonderful thing about bhakti. The means and the end are same. Now one person asked Prabhupada, Swamiji, what will you attain by this chanting? Whole day you are doing chanting, kirtan, japa. What will you attain by chanting? Prabhupada said, more chanting. The means and the end are same in Krishna consciousness. That is the amazing part of Bhakti Yoga. You don't have to give up the process of Bhakti Yoga anytime. Just like Gyan has to be given up, Bhakti cannot be given up. Because Krishna is saying, because I am the object of worship. I am the goals. I am the goal. I am the means. And I am the object. So therefore, nobody can give me. Nobody can give me up. So Krishna says, such learned souls, they have nothing more dear than me. And the purport describes very nicely that, while staying in this material world is a skin disease. If one does not scratch the itch, he suffers greatly. And if he scratches, he may get little, momentary pleasure, but later he suffers much more. Those who have experienced this itch, some fungal infection or something, if you don't itch, it is miserable. And if you scratch it, you feel some momentary pleasure, but later again unbearable pain. So therefore, in this world also, real happiness So purport describes real happiness is not found in scratching the itch. In people in this world, they have this itch for sense gratification, and they try to enjoy, they try to satisfy that itch by engaging in meat eating, intoxications, and illicit sex, gambling, then developing society and developing friendship. They are trying to satisfy that itch, but the result is it may give momentary pleasure for some time, but ultimately unbearable suffering. Yehi samsparshaja bhoga dukkha yonaya evate. What is real happiness? Real happiness means to completely cure this itch. So this process of gyan leads to knowledge that this world is miserable, this world is a place of misery. Then what to do? Okay, I'll become detached. That is great. I will not itch, I will not scratch that itch, but do something positive also. Just cure that itch altogether by the practice of devotional service. That is what Krishna is saying. So therefore one can't give up bhakti, because Krishna is the goal of bhakti. Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavan yaschasmi tattvataha tato mam tattvato gyatva vishate tadanantaram. Krishna says a devotee, after he attains self-realization, he can render devotional service. Then Krishna says the same thing which he said in Bhagavad Gita. In the third verse, Krishna says, Jnani, this person is most dear to me. Same thing Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita also. Tesham jnani nitya yukta ek bhakter vishishyate priyo hi jnanino atyartham aham sa cha mama priyah. Of these four types of people, Artho, Artharthi, Jigyasu and Jnani, Jnani is most dear to me. Because he does not have any ulterior motive. He does not want to enjoy. He wants to know about me. So therefore, the mature stage of Jnana is Bhakti. When a Jnani becomes matured in his renunciation and knowledge of self, he starts developing devotional service. And the famous example is the four Kumaras. When they went to Vaikuntha, they smelled the beautiful, fragrant aroma of the dust, the saffron particles mixed with the tulsi, fragrance of the tulsi. When it entered the nostrils of these four Kumaras, they completely became agitated with the feelings of ecstasy. Tasya nayanasya padaravinda kinjalka mishra tulasi makaranda vayu antargatasya vivarena chakara tesham sanshobhamaksharajusham apichitta tanvoh. Tasya arvinda nayanasya padaravinda. When the four Kumaras, they went to Vaikuntha, they saw the beautiful lotus feet of the Lord. Kinjalka mishra tulasi. Then the air which was carrying the saffron particles along with the tulsi which was offered on the lotus feet of the Lord entered the nostrils. Sanshobham akshara jusham. They became completely agitated with devotional ecstasies. That is a perfection of a jnani. Then what is the glory of the bona fide jnana? Krishna says in the fourth verse. Tapastirtham japo danam pavitrani tarani cha nalam kurvanti tam siddhim ya jnana kalaya krita. Krishna says, tapa, by doing austerities, tirtha, by going to holy places, by doing japa, by doing charity, by doing all the pious activities. The small fraction of perfection of spiritual knowledge one cannot obtain by all these processes. One can attain perfection only by developing jnana, knowledge about the devotional service of the Lord. So therefore, after jnana, one has to come to bhakti. So Krishna says, by jnana, one has to understand me, And then after understanding me, what he has to do? He has to develop loving devotional service unto me. Uddhava may think, who is endowed with that knowledge? Who is endowed with that realization that you are Lord, you are the object of devotion? Krishna says, the sages, they have achieved perfection by worshipping me. By the process of devotional service only, the sages have achieved perfection and they have come to me. Many people in the past, they have achieved me. As Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita also, Evam gyatva kritam karma purvairapi mumukshubhi. Many sages in the past, many kings in the past, they have attained me also, O Arjuna. That's what Krishna says. In Bhagavad Gita, here also Krishna is saying to Uddhava, the sages, they have achieved perfection by worshipping me. And therefore, you have to understand the first, you have to rise above this ignorance. Ignorance of I am this body. Ignorance of the soul. If somebody thinks I am this body, that is ignorance. You are Atma. You are Tvam. Tvam means Atma. Krishna says in the 7th verse. So he says body, mind and the modes, 3 modes of material nature, they create illusion for the living entity. But the person who is a self-realized soul, he understands that the body, the mind and the 3 modes, they are there only in this present. They are not there in the past. They will not exist in the future. So therefore, this self-realized soul, he gives up all the bodily identifications. So after hearing this, Uddhava, he gets another question. Because Uddhava, he heard about the Atma, Tvam, In the 7th verse, Krishna used the word Tvam. Tvam means Atma. So Uddhava, he asks about the knowledge and realization of Brahman. So he says, please explain me about bhakti and the knowledge of Brahman. So Uddhava is saying, please explain me about the Gyan by which one can realize the soul. Jnanam vishuddham vipulam yathaitad vairagya vijnana yutam puranam akhyai vishveshwara vishwamurte tvad bhakti yogam cha mahad vimrigyam. He says, O Krishna, O Supreme Lord, please explain to me the process of knowledge which is transcendental. Jnana and Vishuddham, the supremely pure knowledge. Vairagya Vigyan, that knowledge of devotional service brings detachment. Vairagya Vigyan Yutam Puranam. That knowledge gives detachment and directly helps us to perceive the truth. Therefore, O Krishna, please, Akhya, he means please explain me, O Vishweshwara, O Vishwarupa, Vishwamurte. Vishweshwara means you are the form of the universe. O Vishwamurte, O Lord, please explain to me. Because Tvad Bhakti Yogam cha Mahad Vimrigyam. Because this knowledge, which is sought by great personalities, only great personalities, they aspire for this knowledge of devotion. Knowledge of bhakti is so very rare. After hearing this, Krishna may think, okay, you can reach success by Gyan. Why you are asking about pure bhakti? Gyan, I have explained the process of Gyan. Why are you asking about the process of bhakti? Then Uddhava speaks another very beautiful verse. Tapatrayena bhitasya ghore santapyamanasya bhavadvanisha pashyami nanya sharanam tavangrim dvandvat patrad amrita bhivarshat. He says, O my Lord, people in this world, they are suffering the 3-fold miseries. Tapatrayena abhitasya ghore. They are tormented by the cycle of birth and death. Santapyamanasya, they are suffering. And therefore, I do not see, O my Lord, Pashyami na anyat. I do not see any other uh, rescue for the living entities apart from taking shelter of your lotus feet. Your lotus feet, they are like the refreshing umbrella which is showering the nectar of, uh, which is showering the delicious nectar. Dvandvat patrat amrita bhivarsha. Dvandva atapatra means umbrella. That umbrella which is showering the nectar. So that is the wonderful nature of the lotus feet of the Lord. So therefore, your lotus feet is so very wonderful, so very auspicious. It can give the highest happiness to a living entity. That's what Prahlad Maharaj says. Ya nirvritis tanubhritam tava pada padma dhyanad bhavajjana katha shravanena vasyat sa brahmani swamahimanya pinatama bhut kim tvantakasi lulita patatam vimanat. So Prahlad Maharaj is saying, oh my Lord, after I have come to your lotus feet, I have relished the nectar of your lotus feet, the and the process of hearing and chanting your holy names, your pastimes, liberation is insignificant. What to speak of going to heavenly planets? So therefore, Uddhava is saying, oh my Lord, your lotus feet is so very auspicious. It can remove the distress of all the living entities. Krishna, when he hears this, he says, he may think, okay, if you are saying so, then reach the success by practicing bhakti yoga. Why you're asking about, the other process of gyan also? Just render complete devotional service. Don't worry about gyan altogether. You are asking about knowledge of Brahman also, and you are asking about bhakti also. Why? Uddhava says, oh my Lord, kindly uplift me by your instructions, because, you know, all the living entities, they are not on the level of practicing bhakti. One very interesting insight Chakravarti Thakur gives here. He says, pure devotional service does not arise by one's own effort. Pure devotional service is given by devotees. That is the mercy of the devotees. But one can develop the knowledge of Brahman. One can develop the knowledge of I am not this body, I am soul by one's own endeavor. Jnana yoga can be practiced by one's own endeavor. Bhakti yoga is not practiced by one's own endeavor. One attains perfection in bhakti yoga only by the mercy of the Lord and mercy of the devotees of the Lord. So therefore Uddhava says, oh my Lord, not everybody is qualified for bhakti yoga. So at least by the process of gyan, they will be free from the miseries, or that will happen. So therefore Uddhava is thinking about the welfare of others. So when Krishna, he hears this, he says, O Uddhava, Yudhishthir, he inquired from the Bhishma Dev the same thing which you are asking me. After this whole battle of Kurukshetra was over, Yudhishthir was thinking, I am the cause of, killing of all these relatives and the family members and so many of the innocent soldiers. Now, we have discussed in the first canto. So Krishna, he took Yudhishthir and all the Pandavas to Bhishma. Bhishma, Krishna is saying now here, that Bhishma, he spoke that knowledge. I will speak to you the same thing which Bhishma told to Yudhishthir Maharaj. So he says, Krishna is saying, I approve the knowledge of 28 elements. He's telling about Gyan. What is Gyan now? Knowledge of 28 elements. He says 9, 11, 5 and 3. What is 9? 9 elements of material nature. Mahatattva, false ego, and 5 tanmatras. 9. And then what is 11? 5 working senses, 5 knowledge acquiring senses, and the mind. What is 5? The 5 material elements, earth, water, fire, and ether. What is 3? 3 modes of material nature. So Krishna says, when one sees 24 elements as when one sees that the cause of all these 28 elements is Supreme Personality of Godhead, that is not just Gyan, that is Vigyan. Vigyan means when one realizes that everything is coming from Krishna. Gyan means one realizes I am not this body, I am soul, all these material elements, they are not me. Vigyan means he realizes all these elements are coming from Krishna. That Supreme Lord is beyond creation, maintenance, destruction. He is Supreme Eternal Personality. So this person, he understands this truth by four evidences: by Shruti Praman, Pratyaksha Praman, Anuman Praman, and by the traditional wisdom, Aitihiyam. So these three words we have used many times: Pratyaksha, Praman, and Shabda. Krishna is using the fourth word also. That is called traditional wisdom. So, for example, from Shruti, he understands that this world is a place of misery. This is a scriptural statement. And then he sees that, oh, in this world there is so much of pain. Then he hears the wisdom of the great personalities. Oh, this person, he also suffered so much. He tried his best, but still he was suffering. And then he comes to the logical interpretation. Yes, from logic, I can understand that this world is miserable place and temporary place. So then he says, oh, Uddhava, you should understand that all things in this world, they cause unhappiness. Indeed, a wise man should understand that everything is temporary in this world. There is nothing which is permanent. Everything has a beginning and everything has an end. Adyanta vanta kaunteya nateshu ramate buddha. Therefore, an intelligent person does not find happiness in this material world. And then he says, O Arjuna, now, he says, O Uddhava, now I will explain the process of devotional service. So in next 5 verses, Krishna explains the detailed processes of devotional service. Shraddhamrita kathayam me sashvanmad anukirtanam parinishthya cha pujayam sutivi stavanam mama. So what are the various ways one should worship me, one should render devotional service? Having firm faith in my pastimes, chanting my glories with perfection, with attentiveness, hearing my names, Parinisthita, worshipping me with faith, Stutibhi, offering me prayers, Adarap Paricharyayam, rendering worship to the deity form of the Lord, deity form of mine, Sarvangair Abhivandanam, offering obeisances with the entire body. And then very interesting word Krishna is using here. Mad Bhakta Puja Abhyadika. This word we have heard many times. Mad Bhakta Puja Abhyadika. Krishna says, first class worship means worship of my devotee. Aradhananam sarvesham Vishnur aradhanam param tasmat parataram devi tadiyanam samarchanam. As Lord Shiva is telling to Parvati, of all the worship, Vishnu worship is the supreme, but even better than Vishnu worship is worshipping the devotees. That's what Krishna is saying himself here also. And then he says, this devotee, mad artheshu anga cheshtacha, offering the body, mind, senses, all the sensory activities, he should engage in my service. Vachasa mad guneranam, with his speech, speak about my pastimes. Sarva kama vivarjanam, become free from all the sense gratificatory desires. Madarthe artha parityago bhogasya cha sukhasya cha ishtam dattam hutam japam japtam madartham yad vratan tapah. Give up all the wealth to serve me. Bhogasya refers to even if somebody wants to enjoy sense gratification, do it for my pleasure. Dharma viruddha bhuteshu kamosmi bhartarshaba, even if one has to engage in sex life, do it for Krishna's pleasure. So whatever one does for service of Krishna, charity, sacrifice, chanting, vows, whatever he does. Then he says, Evam dharmair manushyanam uddhavayatma nivedinam mai sanjayate bhakti kvanyo artho avashishyate. He says, all these things, dharmair manushyanam, they constitute the religious principles for the living entities. Uddhava, O Uddhava, this this will make a person, a human being, surrender to me. And therefore, what will be the result? Mai sanjayate bhakti, he will develop devotional service unto my lotus feet. Okay, then what results remain to be obtained? He says, then Krishna says, by offering all these things in devotional consciousness, one attains supreme peace. Peaceful consciousness is obtained by that. One becomes situated in the mode of goodness. One does not get affected by the passion and ignorance. And therefore he says, Dharmo madbhakti kritpokto jnanam chaikatmya darshanam guneshva sango vairagyam aishwaryam chanimadhyah. He says, what is actual religion? Actual religion is that which leads to devotional service. What is real knowledge? Real knowledge is that by which one understands that I am all pervading essence. What is detachment? Detachment means having disinterest in sense gratification. And what is opulence? Opulence means having the mystic perfections. And then after this, Uddhava from 28 to 32nd verse, he asks Krishna the standard definitions of civilized life, the universal aspects of civilized life. And from 33 to 45 verses, Krishna answers that. He says, what is yama? So Krishna answers, there are 12 yamas and 12 niyamas also. What is sama? Shama means absorbing the intelligence in me. What is dhamma? Complete discipline of the senses. What is tolerance? Tolerance means patiently enduring suffering. Charity means to give up aggression towards others. Austerity means renunciation of enjoyment. Heroism means to conquer one's tendency to enjoy material life. What is renunciation? Sannyas, order of life. What is sacrifice? Krishna says, I am sacrifice. What is religious remuneration? Informing friends after a festival of one's realization of bliss. What is cleanliness? Detachment from material actions is cleanliness. What is strength? Greatest strength is pranayam. What is profit? Profit means attaining devotional service. That is the only profit. What is best education? Knowledge of soul. What is real ornament? Real ornamentation means developing all the good qualities like detachment. What is happiness? Real happiness means to be detached from sense gratification of this world. Who is a learned person? One who knows how to become liberated. He is called a learned person. Who is a fool? A fool identifies with his body and the mind. What is a true path? The path which leads to me is true path. What is false path? That which creates agitation of the heart. That is a false path. What is heaven? Heaven means predominance of sattva gun. What is hell? Predominance of ignorance is hell. Who is a rich man? One who has good qualities, he is a rich man. Who is a poor person? Who has no good qualities, who is unsatisfied, he is a poor person. Very interesting. One who is unsatisfied, he is poor. Hiranyakashipu had everything, but still he was unsatisfied. He was the poorest person. He was most unsatisfied. Ajitendriyaha, because he was not sense controlled. Who is the actual controller? One who can control his senses. He is the actual controller. Who is a slave? One who is the servant of the senses. He is called slave. What is humility? Humility means dislike of sinful activities. After describing all this, Krishna says, actually, there is no need to elaborate on all this, since to see good and bad is itself a bad quality. And therefore, ultimately, O Uddhava, one has to transcend good and evil. So that is the end of this 19th chapter. So we'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Anybody has any questions? You can ask, or we'll stop. Okay, so we'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.